with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Creating your seat at the table. I am your host, Dr. Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate executive by day, serial entrepreneur by night, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, and founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLC. Tonight, we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Curtis Mitchell. A little bit about him. From Daytona Beach, Florida, Curtis Mitchell is a four-time outdoor All-American and state champion in the 100 and 200 meter during his 2 years at Southwestern College. After transferring to Texas A&M University, Mitchell won the 200 and was part of the university's team in the 4x4 relay. His 20.38 second time in the 200 meter was the best indoor time in the school's history and in the world that year. Mitchell's second place finish in the 200 meter helped Texas A&M win its second consecutive NCAA championship. After turning professional in January of 2011 and foregoing his final year of eligibility at Texas A&M, Mitchell joined Adidas and began training with two-time world champion Tyson Gay. At the 2013 IAAF World Championship, Mitchell won bronze behind Usain Bolt and Warren Ware with an official time of 20.04 seconds. In the semifinals, Mitchell clocked a personal best time of 19.97 seconds, which is the fastest time out of all qualifiers, including Usain Bolt. Curtis went on later to win his first USA National Championship title in 2014, where he ranked number one in the world that year. 2021 makes this his 10th year as a professional athlete, and he's currently training for the Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. Welcome to the table, the amazing Curtis Mitchell.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Thanks for being at the table. Can you tell us more about your journey? I know our listeners have heard your amazing bio, so tell us more about your journey.
Yeah, so a little bit about me. My journey started in junior college. After high school, I moved to California, San Diego, California for junior college. And it pretty much started out there. I went out there originally for football. After the football season was over with, I knew football was a way for me to get out of my city, after high school. But, I've always had a gift for speed. And after the season was over with, I told my coach, at the time, Tony Campbell, hey, man, I want to be state champion. I want to be the best. And, just hard work, dedication. And I end up becoming number one in the world as an 18-year-old. My freshman year, I won the state championship in the 100 and 200 meters. And then the second year, repeated my title. And I was the second man in history of California state championships to do that. And after that, I earned my scholarship to Texas A&M University. I spent a year there. The first 6 months is when I won the NCAA indoor national title. I ran the fastest time in the world. And I ended up going undefeated that year. And I pretty much was a one and done. I declared to go pro after the NCAA season. And, to follow my dreams and my goals was just to become the fastest man in the world. That was always my goal, was to race the best in the world. Usain Bolt, get on that level. And I just had to prove myself at each level. So, I moved to Florida in 2013. 2011 is when I signed my professional contract. And I moved to Florida to train with Tyson. And first 2 years, I just had to get adjusted to the pro system. And my new coach, then after the third year, that's when everything clicked for me and I was able to get the bronze medal. And later on, after that, the USA national title. So.
Wow. And so why are you so passionate about, speed, right? Were you always that passionate about that? Because I know you said you were starting out, going out to college for football. So did you always have a passion for running? Did you always have that passion?
Yeah, I've always had the passion for running. Since I was 8, my childhood dream was to become the fastest man in the world. I used to say that. And, throughout my childhood life, I've showed signs of having a gift for speed. So as I got into my adult years and really was intentional with my dream, recognizing my gift, going through what I went through in junior college, learning at a very early age the power of manifestation, putting in a goal out there and working relentlessly towards that goal and actually seeing it come true, come to fruition. I just stuck with it, just stuck with the formula. I get a lot of my attributes from my mom. She's really resilient, with my upbringing, how she raised me. So just taking that into my sporting career, and I seen that track, was providing me a different life. It helped me. It was the reason why I went to school. I was able to experience, university life. So I think all that played a factor. But I'm just so passionate about, because I know how much, I just know my talent, and I know how much I still have left to give in the sport of track and field. And I'm just so passionate about it. And, just being grateful, understanding that, once it's over with, it's going to be over with one day. I'm not going to have this opportunity. And I've been doing it, since a very early age. I just turned 32 years old today, and it just seemed like yesterday I was just in my 20s, doing it, just staying committed, staying, focused on my goals. So nothing for me has really changed, but I guess I'm passionate about it because I feel like I have a lot of unfinished business. I've experienced the sport at a very high level that most people, they haven't experienced it. So I know, I know that God has given me a gift, and just, honing in on my craft to really see how fast can I go, if I put everything into it and really just trying to seize it, because I want to be an Olympic and world champion. And I think ultimately as a competitor and an athlete, that's what drives me. So.
I mean, I just love your journey and your story. And tell me this, and tell our listeners this. How does it feel being the fastest man in the world?
Well, I haven't gotten that title as in the world. I was number one in the world as an American. But I feel like, when you become an Olympic and world champion, that's when you can say that Usain Bolt is the fastest man in the world. He's the world record holder. So, that's the title that we're all facing. Now it's wide open. I was the bronze medalist, and I was ranked number one in the world as an American. But as far as having that title, I feel like that comes with, you have to go out and be Olympic and world champion. And right now, Usain Bolt, he's paved the way for all the runners, the world record holder. He has all the records, and he's the number one man. So, but right now, as far as the current runners, it's just all about, titles and who's competing against who and beating the caliber competition. So I'm just looking forward to getting back out there now and competing.
I love it. Well, during the semifinals, though, you clocked a personal best time of 19.97 seconds, which is the fastest time out of all the qualifiers, including Usain Bolt. How did that feel?
Yeah, I felt like it just kind of felt, it was, I didn't really think about it too much. I was just doing what I needed to do to get in that final, because at the championships, it's all about, advance. They tell you, sometimes, you got to run your personal best time just to make the finals at these championships because you're racing the best runners on earth. That's what it takes at the level that we're at. So there was another guy from Great Britain, Adam Jamili. He had ran a similar time, 1998, but I was honestly just doing what I needed to do to advance. And it was great because I got a chance. I was right behind him, and I got a chance to see him. So I had, the preferred lane, but they gave him lane 4 because obviously he's the same boat. And I ended up getting lane 3. I'm 6'4", but for some reason, I keep getting these inside lanes, which is harder for me. But I end up still running pretty fast. But it was a surreal experience. It was an incredible experience, and even though it was a lot of nerves and butterflies, I was super ready. I was just super in the moment. When I ran that time, it was almost like reassurance in my head, like, okay, you belong here. Don't go in the final second guessing yourself. I know Usain Bolt is here. I know this is the person that you've been studying and watching for so many years, but you've arrived, you've here, and I've proven. Like when you get in the finals, it's like you belong here. So as much as you want to kind of fanboy out or just kind of get caught up into what's going on, that champion mindset, everything that you went through, like when I ran that personal best, I went in with a confidence like, man, let's go. Like you got to turn into that, if that kind of makes sense. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of it's less thinking and more like, I'm here now. This is what it feels like. Let's enjoy it. So
Amazing. So tell us about your experience with training with two-time world champion Tyson Gay. How was that experience? Tell us about that.
yeah, Tyson, that was a great experience. Tyson was like a mentor to me. Being able to train against the fastest American, in the history of the world. Like that was just amazing. And the things that I seen him doing training just elevated my game. And I remember in 2013 when we was at USA Championships to make the team, the World Championship team. Obviously he trained with the fastest man in the world, the joint fastest man in the world. It was him and Usain Bolt, obviously, and Justin Gatlin in that conversation for the world best, and Johan Blake. But just training with him just builds your confidence. So, I remember I had a grade 1 hamstring strain going into that championship. And I didn't find out until the night before my first round. But, being around him, he helped me, mentally, physically. And I remember going into the first round, I had to, the doctors, they taped my leg up and I went out there and I ran. I won my race, my heat. I had one of the fastest times. But going into the second round, a little bit of self-doubt was creeping in because I just really wasn't sure about my leg. And I just remember walking behind him and he looked back and he's like, "Look, bro, I'm going. I need you to come with me." And he literally said that and it was like something switched. And I just hit another gear and I ended up making the team and I owe a lot of that to Tyson. And I tell him that to this day. So it was a blessing.
And thanks for sharing that because that's so important, the importance of mentoring and coaching, right? And so could you speak about that? Because I know in your, definitely with being a professional athlete, mentoring and coaching, I'm sure is very, very definitely significant to your success. So can you talk to our listeners about that? And, for people that are probably looking to become professional athletes, right? And trying to reach the success that you have reached. What is the importance of, mentors and then, of course, coaches as well?
Yeah, I think it's very important to have a mentor and a coach. Like, you can't do it by yourself. Like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. Especially in track and field, you got to have people around you that's been there, that really has your best interest at heart. That's very, very important. You can have people around you, but you got to have the right people around you. And they're just going to help you they're going to help you avoid the mistakes that they made, which is going to help your career out because you can spend more time within your genius and less time making mistakes. It's all about, spending more time perfecting your craft, performing, growing, and, less time having to deal with, mistakes and obstacles that other people have made that you could have avoided. Even now, just even reaching those next levels, you need to always surround yourself around people, that's going to challenge you and hold you accountable. So it's very important. And even me looking at all the experience and everything that I've been through, I'm excited to share that, with the younger generation because it's going to be authentic. I've been through it. I got that real testament and that real story. And that's truly what it's all about. And I think once you get to that point, I've been in that state lately, just that reflective state, and, just being grateful of the platform and the opportunity that I now have going back out there on the track with my newfound goals. It's like, man, so many people are going to be inspired. I can do so much now. It's going to be incredible. So, but to answer your question, it's very important to have a coach and a mentor.
And thanks for answering that. So, okay, that's so important for listeners to hear that. And you have reached so much success, right? You like you said, you just turned 32 today, but you've reached success that some people that have been doing this way longer than you haven't reached, right? And so, what did you do different than the rest of your counterparts to really? I mean, everybody can't say they was right there with Usain Bolt and trained by Tyson Gay. So, what did you do different than some of your other kind of counterparts to really reach the success that you reached and want to continue to reach?
I just think I'm more disciplined than everybody else. I'm disciplined and I'm really consistent. I have a strong mindset. So if I'm chasing something, that's what I'm chasing. I've never lost track of the main goal, and I can truly say that and back that up with my actions daily. Sure, things have been tough. Sure, things have been hard, but I've always done things that I've seen other people just not willing to do, for a long period of time. And that's what greatness is. It's about being good, consistently over a long period of time. I remember being at the World Championships. I'm seeing people lounge around in the lounge, but I'm upstairs doing abs. I
Hmm.
remember being in a room in London by myself, away from my training camp. But I'm stretching that night. I'm doing my abs. I'm doing my extra runs. I'm waking up in the early hours. In the morning. 2 a.m., 3 a.m. training, working on my mind, stretching. Taking care of my body, looking after my health. I'm doing the little things. These are this is who I've always been. I slept in a garage for 2 years in junior college, while my mom worked two jobs, sending me, I barely had $50 in my pocket. I'm in college in San Diego, and it's expensive up there, out of state tuition, and I had to go through that. I come from humble beginnings. So when you come from humble beginnings, like, this is my passion. I would do this if I wasn't getting paid a dime. But the fact that I got an opportunity, I just move different. And to be honest, that's just the formula. Just being focused, being disciplined, having faith, and just taking massive action. And my personality, I got an introvert type personality, so it works well with what I'm doing, because I like to be within myself, be in my zone, and just be focused. I'm not easily distracted. So I just think that's been the difference maker for me.
Thanks for sharing that. I love that you shared that. And I know you spoke about your mom a lot. Do you gear a lot of your success to your mom as well?
Yeah, definitely. My mama get a lot of the success. She get a lot of credit. Just watching her, play mom and dad, and how strong my mom has been. I just I give her so much credit. So much credit, and just grateful that my mindset and how I'm resilient, and how I never give up. And there's been plenty of opportunities my mom could have gave up, especially growing up. We was homeless during Hurricane Francis here in Florida. That was one of the worst hurricanes that left us homeless. And so I watched my mom start from zero. I think when you see stuff like that, it's just instilled in me. So, and I'm just thankful to have somebody like her.
And I asked you that question because I think a lot of people see the accolades, right? But they don't see the process, right? So everybody has a process and a story of what they had to accomplish to get to, all these great things that they have achieved. So thank you for sharing your journey, because I mean it's an amazing journey of just resilience and just never giving up and making it happen. And so for our listeners that are looking to become professional athletes, or might have kids that are looking to do that, what are some of the pros and cons of being a professional athlete?
That's a great question. So the pros of being a professional athlete is obviously, the freedom. It's you're doing what you love to do. There's nothing greater than that. You have this is what we've been doing since we was kids. So to be able to be blessed to have that opportunity in itself speaks volumes. The pros for that, you can inspire. You're getting paid to do what you love to do, and I think that's the ultimate perk. The cons of it, is the business side of it. When you put business into what you love to do, it can get tricky. It can get stressful. You learn a lot. It's going to challenge you. Professional sport, it makes or breaks a lot of people. And not just in the field of play, but in life. Um, so, but you just have to be ready for it. And I just think a lot of success comes from the people that's more adaptable. Can you adapt? And that's been it's been my whole key to it, just being able to pivot and just continue to grow. So that'll be my take on it.
And speaking of adapting and pivot, the pandemic happened last year. So tell us about that. I'm sure, a lot of things had to, some pivots that you had to take, right? So can you talk to us more about that?
Yeah, I mean, just the pandemic was hard for everybody. I just think for me, just not knowing what's going on, with the Olympic Games, it affected my training. Prior to the pandemic, I was in Ireland. I spent a month out there for training camp. Just getting healthy, with one of my doctors, and it was something that we was planning. It was an amazing time. I had some incredible games, and then the pandemic happened. And actually, when it was getting bad in Italy, I was in Ireland, so I flew back home, and it just put a halt on everything. And being around my family like anybody else. You know, I had some deaths in the family due to COVID. You just know people, and I just think overall the pandemic was just it was just something that nobody has ever experienced. And but I just stayed true to what I was doing. Just stayed true to just try to protect myself, um, and continue to put in work, whatever that looked like. But eventually things started coming together for me, and I started to make things happen. So we're starting to be on the up end of that whole pandemic situation.
And thanks for sharing that, right? Because like you said, it happened to everybody, but it was all about, right, pivoting and adapting. And so even through all of that, you were still training, right? You were still doing stuff, right? You wasn't still sitting still. And so that's the main purpose of that. So thanks for sharing that for people who are listening. I asked all of my guests this question. You have created plenty of tables for other people and many tables for yourself. How did you create your at the table?
Just being my authentic self. I'm a learner and just understanding. I just show up and just be myself. I think a lot of people appreciate what I'm doing, what I'm about, my core beliefs, my values. I like to listen. I like to learn. And when I went to Clubhouse, just using Clubhouse as an example, just the people that I've been able to meet, it's been incredible. And just coming in a space where people they find out about your story, they appreciate that you're out here being relentless. Training for the Olympic Games. People appreciate that, and then they find out who the person is, the humble beginnings, and your whole story. And I just think um, that's how you get the respect. So and just knowing what I know, and just being open to growing. So I think that's how I found my seat at the table, just not really being stressed and just kind of just letting it come to me honestly.
And and thanks for sharing it. And speaking of Clubhouse, it has been a big blessing, right? This is how I reached out to you and met you in one of those amazing rooms, right? And so, can you talk about the power of Clubhouse? During this pandemic and how it has really opened up a lot of doors to a lot of people with connecting and building relationships.
Yeah, Clubhouse has been a game changer. You hear it all the time. This app is something like we've never experienced before. So, the access that you have to people that you would never normally meet, the deals that's been being done, the connections that's being made, if you're intentional, it's just it's second to none. So, obviously, if you look at Clubhouse, it's a room full of mastermind classes, and these are, in real life, these will be conferences that people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on. So somebody like me that's constantly just want to continue to grow and elevating on this self development, it's just been incredible. I've only been on there, a month, and I've already, I'm at 8,000 followers. But these are some of the, top people in the world that I've never probably would have met. So if you have a brand, if you have a store, if you know what you're doing, if you're super intentional, and you're trying to go to the next level, Clubhouse hands down has been just a game changer. So we're managing it, obviously, just don't go on there just to be on it,
Right.
because then it can be a detriment. You can find yourself in the wrong rooms, in the wrong energy, and that's the thing. You got to protect your energy. That's very important. So I just know once you know your lane, one must know you must know yourself. Once you know
Mm-hmm.
yourself, but again, that starts with self development. None of these things is matters. This podcast wouldn't even be happening if I'm not working on myself, because I wouldn't know what I'm talking about. I'd be all over the place, vice versa. So you
Mm-hmm.
you understand that. And I think when you put in that real work, you go on a platform like Clubhouse, you can just take that to the next level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, what did failure teach you on your journey?
Failure, it just teaches you character, and you learn. You never fail, you learn. Anytime I went in a situation, I look back on it, it was like, okay, this is for me to learn. Because if you fail, then that means you can't grow. So I don't ever, even the losses that I've had on the track, like those losses turned into big wins at the right time. You don't understand them in the moment. Obviously, they suck, but think about if everything went right all the time. What kind of world would that look like? I wouldn't even want to be in a world that everything just went right all the time. You got to have a balance. and once you lose or quote unquote lose, you really learn. It's a lesson to be learned and all that. And it's the ability to find out what that lesson is, learn from it, and move forward as fast as possible. That's the name of the game.
Absolutely. It's always about the lesson. And so you're very successful. So what did success teach you?
Just to still remain humble. Just be humble. That's definitely what it's taught me. Success is just being humble, being a whole individual, because it can be taken. That's why it's very important to stay humble. It can be taken just as fast as you get it. And just building character, understanding that, what's the purpose of all this? What is your purpose? Living in your purpose, being a good person, and just chasing your passion. So just understanding that success is being, when you get success, be very, very grateful, because especially if you come from humble beginnings. So that's what it's taught me.
Powerful, 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 powerful. And so I know based off your bio, you are training right now for the Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. What else can we expect? Can you tell us about, that, and what else we can expect from you? We're getting ready to finish the first quarter. And what can we expect from Curtis Mitchell the rest of 2021?
Yeah, just continue growth. Training for the Olympic Games. We still don't know what that looks like right now. World Championships is next year, so that's going to be a big year. So honestly, I'm excited about moving to my new training camp here pretty soon, getting with my coach, and we get to training. And then once we get to training and we get all the pieces together, then everything else is going to take care of itself. So I don't really have no timetable on anything, but I just know once we're ready to go, you're gonna see me on the track, and you're gonna see big things for sure.
Well, super congratulations in advance for all the amazing things you're getting ready to do and all the dope things that you've already done. So super congratulations. Happy birthday again. And please let our listeners know how they can follow, support you on all social platforms, and how they can book you as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at Mr._200. I'm on Clubhouse, Mr. Mitchell 200M. Same on Twitter, Facebook, Curtis Mitchell. I really enjoyed this podcast, this interview. It was amazing. Thanks so much for having me.
You are welcome, and thank you so much again, Curtis, for coming to the table and saying yes, and also taking time on your birthday to do it. So I look forward to inviting you back to the table. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Sarah, from Tennessee State University, who is now a Tennessee State University alumni. I would also like to give a special thanks to my intern, Vontaria, who is a student at Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Dr. Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.